All right, good day, people. So we are back with another banger session with a very curious product and a very curious founder. So yeah, welcome Curran to the stream. Thank you so much for joining with us today and taking your time to talk about Highlighted, which is of course your new product from the plethora of other products which we have launched before, and how it can actually help brands track their AI mentions. So this is stuff which is very unique and new for people. So thank you for taking your time to explain to them, and welcome once again.
Yeah, excited to be here and show everyone the product.
All right. So very curious to know how this thing came into your mind, big mind of thoughts, because this is something which no one, I think, thought about it. So when we launched, they said, how does this work? Or how can this actually help me? So we were getting very curious questions. So if we can answer, how has your journey been, and just give us a 5 minute rundown of how did you get to this stage of being highlighted, and what made you actually work on this?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, what this started with is I've been pretty involved in SEO the past 4 or 5 years, and as anyone in SEO knows, like it changes so fast. So, just over like a year ago, AI overviews started popping up on Google, and basically, anytime you type in a search query, you're going to start seeing like an AI overview before you see any links at all. And so that was kind of the precipice of this is we saw that and we're like, okay, well, this is kind of changing. And then started doing a little more research on it and realized like, okay, this is changing at a pretty rapid pace. Like at the beginning, only a certain percentage of search queries showed the AI overview when you typed it in. But I mean, nowadays it's probably over 50% of everything I type in. I'm seeing an AI overview, and that takes up the majority of the page before I see any links at all. So um, that was kind of the start of this. And I realized this is going to change how we track stuff and how people find products and how people find services. And yeah, that was kind of how it started and how yeah, basically.
Cool. So if you can let us know, like before you launched on RocketHub, like you just it's a very fresh project from your end, right? It's not like you're working on it for 7, 8 months, but I think the team has put the R&D behind it for months, but you've launched it very recently, right?
Yeah, yeah. Basically, we've been building it for 7 or 8 months, and honestly, it went through like probably 2 or 3 rebuilds just because stuff keeps kind of changing. And then we're like, okay, we want to display this data differently, and maybe we want to put more models in there than just Google. So yeah, stuff. I mean, stuff changes so fast in AI, anyways. But um, we've really kind of put a lot into it, and this is our third different like it's it's a different tracking product, but this is our third tracking product. So we've learned a lot about how to display data to users that's like actually helpful and how to make it super flexible so that people can look at it in a variety of different ways and like see what they need to see without having to export stuff and all that. So that was kind of why it took so long as well, just trying to get the data to show up right, make it easy for people to use and easy to understand like what you're looking at.
Makes sense. Cool. Even we liked it a lot when we kind of saw it for the first time. We were curious. So let's deep dive into it. Let's show people the meat and how you actually built it. And I think you can just take it through everything you have inside highlighted. And then we'll have a lot of questions to answer from people. So let's get to it.
All right, right on.
Yep.
Yeah, you want me to share my screen here?
Yeah, for sure. We can share it.
Let's see here. All right, you see this?
Yep, we can see it properly.
Cool, cool. So yeah, this is just. I'm gonna first just go through like an existing product or
Yeah,
project, and
sure.
then we can kind of take questions after that. But this is I set this up a couple days ago. This is a project we would be tracking, and it's CallRail. Some of you guys might be familiar with it. It's basically a call tracking product, and they're the market leader in their space. And so we wanted to see how often they're showing up in AI responses. So right when you log in, any project you create, you're going to see basically this. this box for every single project that you have created. So you'll see the overall AI visibility. This is going to be everything aggregated into one little graph here, and kind of give you a snapshot view of how you're doing across the board. And then we have these other three models here that we're tracking. So Google, OpenAI, and Meta. Um, and eventually we'll be adding more LLMs here as well, where you can kind of select which one you want to show up here. And then over here on the right, this is going to show you overall movement. So just a quick snapshot of like how you're doing over the last 7 days, 30 days, 90 days. And it's not showing right now because we've only been tracking for 2 days. But this is just this is one of those things that we did end up redesigning. Like originally we just had, okay, have the project name, you click into the project, you click into the prompt and see how it's doing. But we want to give you a good snapshot view right when you log in so that you can immediately see the data that you want to see. And, you don't have to click around like 5 or 6 times to get to see any data. So yeah, that's kind of the overview of how projects work. You can add a new project just by clicking here, by putting in the brand name and putting in the website, um, and it'll prompt you to add your prompts after that. But yeah, this is where you'll see the list of those. And then if we click into a project, it's going to be the same view up top, a little more detail here. Uh, you can switch around the time frame that you're looking at. You can compare against competitors, which I'll go over in a minute. But essentially, yeah, you're going to see the aggregate view here, and then you can drill down into each different model so that you have exact like information on what model you're looking at. And so we give you all these different things so you can look at it in any way you want. And down here we have all the different prompts that we're tracking. So for this specific one, we have 12 different prompts, and you'll see this is a lot of questions have come in about, what type of prompt should we put here if we want to track our brand. And I think the best thing that I've seen just from testing this quite a bit
Hey,
is,
Charlie.
oh, hey, what's going on, Charlie? Um,
Hey
what
guys.
what we learned from testing this a little bit is just kind of prompting the LLMs to give back a list. Because if you just type in, for example, like if you're a services business and you just type in like car repair, uh, Missouri or whatever it is, it's going to give you some weird results. So you want to give it in a way where when you're like almost as if you're talking to ChatGPT, like, what do you want back? I want a list of 10 tools back so that I can see if my brand is mentioned in those 10 tools. So that's a good way to just think about how you're prompting this. And yeah, to go a little bit deeper into what you can do with all this information for each individual prompt, if you click on it, you're going to be able to see a graph of that specific prompt as well as like the aggregate views and stuff. And we put a lot of information here so you can, I mean, you see everything that's going on. You see the prompt history, you see where the brand is mentioned, you see exactly what model, what temperature, stuff like that, when this was ran. And it gives you the entire list of all the different prompts that you've ran in the past for this. So basically, the way we thought about this from the beginning is we're going to run two different prompts on two different temperatures and see what are the differences here, and are they mentioned both in the same or in the different temperatures. I don't know if we'll continue doing that. We might change it to just one prompt per day, but this is kind of how we started with it, just to try to test, see see what works, and see what what we want to do for the future. But this is how it works right now.
There were some folks that were asking the question of coming up with the right prompt, and you touched on that. One of the other ways you could come up with the right prompts is just to go inside your Google Search Console and look at all the keywords that are already driving you some search traffic. And I think adding those in would be a very good representation of how someone would prompt AI for a specific answer.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Especially if it's, a lot of keywords that might show up there might not totally be like sentences or something. So if you could
Yeah.
form that into a sentence, you're probably going to get a better like response and get a more accurate view of how like this would actually show up on Google or ChatGPT or whatever.
Yeah, good point. The ones to look for inside of your Google Search Console should be, in my opinion, question focused, and usually will contain 4 or 5, even more words that someone was searching for. You're not going after a keyword, so you kind of have to change your mindset from keyword to actual prompt, right?
Hmm.
Which is always a question. So look for that inside of your Google Search Console.
Yeah, 100%. And this is, the one I'm showing right now. This is for a software product. So, we're asking about what tools, whatever. Uh, a good way to think about it too is like if you're a services company, it's like what service in this city or what company in this city helps with this service or stuff like that where it's tailored to what your niche is, but it's going to return like company names. So if you think about that, if I asked this to ChatGPT, would it return company names or would it just give me like a description of like what I'm typing in? That's another way to think about it as well. But let's keep going on this demo. So basically, this is the projects page. Something we haven't touched on is this filters area where you can compare to different competitors. So this is pretty cool. You can click on here and it's going to give an overview of exactly like you can enter competitors in on this page and then they'll automatically show up here. And then you can see an overlaid graph of how your company or whatever company you're tracking is doing against its competitor and see that directly overlaid. So really, really helpful. And usually clients love this type of stuff because if they see someone who's also in their city or they have a competitor who's really close to them, they like to see how they're stacking up against them. So showing that to clients is a pretty cool way to display the data. Um, in terms of adding prompts, I haven't shown this yet. You can add prompts in, basically just separate each by a line break. So if you have a list from Google Sheets or whatever, just paste them in, and you can select which model that you want this to run on. So if you don't really want to run on Meta, you don't have to, and it's going to charge basically one prompt per AI model. And then let's see what else. So if we go to competitors, this is where you would add that competitor. And this is going to run all the same prompts and do it again on a daily basis and compare that against your main project. And so you'll see still here the same thing, all the same prompts. And then you can view the data for each model as well. So the way we kind of did this too is like, you want to get your overall aggregate data here. You get to look at each individual model here, and then you get to look at each individual prompt. So you can really see the data in any possible way, and it makes it just an easy way to use it.
Mhm. That's that's a good view as well. And I mean, some people had a question about, okay, now we have the data, right? Okay, they've got all the insights, they have all this information. So what next, right? I mean, what can they do to actually improve their AI visibility, right? Let's say if they see, right, Meta is saying 88%, how can they increase the visibility over time? How can they beat their competitors? Like the beat in SERPs, right? So what's the utility of the information after they like look at the reports?
So I mean, I would consider it really similar to keyword tracking, where
Yeah.
you're going to do a lot of the same SEO work that you would normally do to rank higher in the SERPs to get higher visibility on AI. What
Yep.
we've seen help the most is especially with these like prompts like the top 10 lists and top 3 products, what are the best products, what are the best services, stuff like that. The best way to like really really improve that from what we've seen is get mentioned in like top 10 lists when people are searching on Google for top 10 lists. So like if you search top 10 call tracking companies, try to find those top blog posts that are like making articles about that and get mentioned there, because what ends up happening is ChatGPT, Google, they're looking at the top search results to kind of form their answer back. And you'll even see that in whenever you type in to ChatGPT, what are the top 10, whatever, you're going to see a source next to a lot of the listed items, and getting mentioned in those sources is probably going to be the best way to get mentioned overall in AI as well. And this is going to be great for your SEO too, because then you get a backlink from that place or whatever. Even if you don't, I mean, at least you're mentioned, right? So getting mentioned in those top lists and roundup reviews and stuff like that, that's going to be your probably your best way to improve AI visibility over time. But also just um, doing more PR in general, like the more places you're mentioned across the internet, just think about it like when the AI is, I guess, collecting all the data or whatever, however you want to put that, the more you're mentioned around your specific subject, the more the AI is going to make that correlation and understand that your product like does this service or whatever. Um, so generally, yeah, it's going to be a lot of regular SEO stuff, and especially getting in those top reviews and roundup review type of articles.
Yeah, I'll just add to that, but Karan is right here. Um, the way Another way to slice and dice this is to use the data that you just got that says either you or your competitor is being mentioned for this prompt, and reverse engineer from there. Why are they being mentioned? Go look at the page structure, the link that they're on, and reverse engineering the on-page SEO there, right? You could do that with a lot of other tools, of course, all that on-page SEO. So the SEO activities that you normally would follow for keyword research don't really change, only now it's not a single keyword, it's more of a prompt itself. But the underlying structure of any web page is, pretty much the same. So go ahead and start studying the structure of who is being mentioned and what correlations can you make off of that. Is it because that page has substantial amount of backlinks? Is it because that brand has a substantial amount of online presence and, therefore there's a lot of relationships being built, by the search engines and traffic wise, that say that's who should be mentioned for that specific type of question or prompt. And now you want to work towards that. So I don't think it's very different than you trying to rank from a long tail keyword perspective. I think it's the same concept, only now you're using the data that's been fed to you to understand, okay, well, how does AI interpret this? And each model has its own underlying algorithm. But fundamentally, the input source of all of these AI LLMs is the internet, which is no different than Google, right? Google's scraping the internet. These LLMs essentially scrape the internet as well. So the underlying source is always still your website, your web page, your link, and things of that nature. So um, I don't think any algorithm per se has a substantially different approach to understanding what's more important, what's considered authoritative. I think they may all have some degrees or temperatures that are different in how they rank them and what they use for certain types of questions. But the data itself becomes revealing. And that's really why you need something like highlighted. It's really the first step. It's like, where do I even start? Well, this shows you where to start.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like the classic idiom where what gets measured gets managed. So if you're not
Mhm.
tracking it, it's probably not going to improve. And this is one of the main reasons we built this, right? We want to track this for ourselves and make sure that we're showing up for these AI terms and doing things to optimize for that and getting mentioned in different roundup reviews and stuff like that. So um, yeah.
Got it. Yeah, thanks for this explanation. I think this makes a lot of sense for people. So this is like a search console for like AI, LLMs, because you then get to see like what you are kind of getting responses on, tracked on, right, stuff like that. So it's like you're an eagle's point of view of your AI presence.
Mhm.
Um, oh, cool. I mean, some people had um, questions about does it work worldwide because of the data aspect of it, like it works in Europe, stuff like that. So I said, I mean, yeah, I mean, it should work everywhere in the world wherever you are searching from OpenAI, and if they have access to OpenAI, right? And in the future, will it even show the locations from where they're getting searches from, or is it like it will just show the queries? Yeah. Some people even ask this question.
I mean, it kind of depends how. I don't think it's going to show the location just because it doesn't respond with the location whenever you type that
Yeah,
into ChatGPT
right.
or whatever. So it is a little bit of different than keyword, just like doing long tail keywords on Google, because that can be very location dependent, but it still can be location dependent. You just put that in your prompt, right? So add the city, add the state, add the country, whatever, and it's going to give you kind of the results related to that. You'll just have to be more specific about it. And if you're using a different language and stuff, like if you type that prompt in your other language, then it's going to respond in that language. So no issues there either.
Yeah. Again, going back to reverse engineering, one way to tackle that if geo is important to you is, either add the country or prompt in a specific way that it implies the country. And
Mhm.
so if you were to go into Google Search Console, obviously from keyword perspective, Google will show you, which countries at an aggregate level, how many clicks you got from that country. But here, what we're trying to understand is, what are people entering into these AI models that is surfacing your brand or your competitor's brand? And when you think about it that way, the geo becomes a bit, I guess, unnecessary, because the AI model doesn't necessarily care whether it was someone from Europe or it was someone from America that's made that search. All it cares about is that prompt was entered. Now, a lot of these AIs also have language specific aspects as well. So, could I be using OpenAI in a specific language? And the answer to that is yes, I could absolutely do that and prompt it in a specific language. In which case, if there is search volume for that prompt in that specific language, I suspect you'd get it because it's still coming from the APIs itself.
Yep.
Yep, makes sense. All right. Yep. So I think someone had a question about this, like to what companies this can be sold as a service, because I think currently we're also coming up with the agencies and custom white label, correct? So the agencies will have this question. So what do you think about this? Um, about the local businesses. I think that's what we discussed recently.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to you selling it because a lot of people that it's a newer thing with these AI overviews, but if you type in whatever like the main keyword is for whatever client you have, and you see an AI overview, you can just use that and be like, look, I typed your main keyword in. We're seeing AI overviews before we're seeing any links. This is going to matter a lot over the next couple years. And so anytime you search that and you see that, I think that's an opportunity to sell this to a client. Like uh, it's no it's no like surprise to a lot of people because people are seeing this AI overview everywhere, even people who aren't really in tech and stuff like that. Uh, I've been talking to family members who like they're not involved in tech at all, and I'm like, you know how you type in a search and you see the AI overview, and they're like, yeah, I've been seeing that everywhere lately. So it's not. I don't think it's going to be too hard to sell this type of service to clients, or just use it as an add-on and be like, hey, look, we track your keywords, we can also track your AI overview. Other companies can't do this. So you could use it as a differentiator as well, to market your services and kind of be seen as a forward thinking agency. So it's just going to matter more and more over time. And so I think the more ahead of it you get, the better off you're going to be.
I also feel that while today you don't necessarily have local specific AI models, local specific AI prompting, it will come, right? That aspect will come, and I suspect that in the future you will be able to um, prompt in a geocentric way. Um, it's not there yet, but when that time frame comes, and if the APIs offer that data back or that optionality back, I think it's pretty natural that you would see it in an app like this or any other. But to me, the way I look at it is we offer SEO services at our company, at our agency called 99 Robots. So to date, if you think about SEO in the traditional sense and what every other SEO agency offers, we're all offering the same thing. So we're all beating down each other, if you think about it, right? You're all selling the same thing. You're all selling the same audits, the same reports. I think this is something that Curran highlighted, no pun intended. It helps you be that forward-thinking agency, right? Imagine you telling, even if it's a local business, imagine you telling your local business that we now track, AI prompts and can report that, regardless of the fact that they, don't benefit from it today. I think it demonstrates that you're ahead of the curve. And to me, that's important when you're trying to stand out in a sea of a million SEO agencies.
Yeah. And just to
Makes
touch on reporting too, this is something that's probably coming in the next week. We'll have another sidebar menu item here, allowing you to create reports. And you can do monthly reports, weekly reports, PDF reports, all that stuff. So just something to look out for in the next week or two.
And how frequently does like the data updates? That's even that was a common FAQ from people. Can they like once they set up their URLs, the prompts, everything, so can they check the next day the progress, or they have to wait for 2 days for the data to populate? Because that's important to even clear to people. So then they won't they won't just go in the next 5 minutes and check, oh, how many tracking, I mean, how many mentions did I got, right? 5 minutes.
Yeah, it does update immediately. So
Yeah,
when you type in your prompts, I mean, it'll take maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. But uh, it'll just, instead of showing the AI visibility here, it'll show a little progress spinning thing, and once it's done, just show the number there, and you can click in and see the response uh, like this. So it does update pretty quick in terms of like how often or yeah, I guess that answers the question.
yeah, makes sense. Cool. All right. So our friend Anthony here, I mean, had a perspective about how like an alternate way of looking at things. So this is what Anthony says, that thank you for this product. However, there's an easier way, he mentions. Building on an AEO funnel builder automatically will do this for everywhere.
Wait, let me read this. Um, I'm not sure I understand what the question is.
Yeah, if you can like expedite, or I mean, if you can like elaborate on what you're trying to say, um, then I think it will be easier for us to understand the question, Anthony. All right.
Real quick, I can go over a couple other things in this tool I haven't touched on, but for some of the
Yep.
accounts on RocketHub, you can switch to different workspaces and stuff. So this is nice if you want to keep things separate or give clients access. You can set up a workspace for them, invite them to the actual workspace, and set up the project in there. And it's a nice way to keep things separate and yeah, have users only be able to look at their project and whatnot if you want to give them access.
And I mean, people can actually set the if they want to make someone an admin, or they would just want to make them a team member, right? Or there are roles inside highlighted right now, or you can just
Yeah.
add an admin.
So we got these three. I believe it's we probably should put some little descriptions here, but if you're a manager, you can basically do anything. If you're a member, you can do anything but billing. And then client, you can basically just view data.
Got it. And on the language models, what are the next set of models coming in? And right now, OpenAI came up with their new kind of stuff. So will people be able to see, okay, this person searched from this specific, models version. So they will be able to even optimize for that, particular thing. And are you like going to add more? And if yes, then what's the timeline and roadmap for that?
Sure. So the next two that we're going to add here are going to be Claude and Perplexity. And what we'll probably do is have a little drop down here so you can kind of select which one you want to show on this preview. And same thing in here. But I'm gonna guess we haven't started work on it because we're still finishing up this reporting feature. But I'm gonna guess probably a month, maybe a little less, to get the other models in there and make sure everything like works well together.
Got it. Yeah, because many of folks have like kind of shifted from even OpenAI. They're saying, okay, we are doing stuff on Claude, which they'll be excited to kind of try out the Claude aspect of it. Um, yep, that sounds good. And if you the white label stuff, how is it going to work? Are they going to like just publish the reports and share it with the clients, or how will the white label work? Because people ask if there's going to be a CNAME, or for the workspaces, or the reports will have a client's name, or So if you can explain the process of a white label and what they can expect into this.
Sure. So immediately what you can expect on that reporting feature.
Yep,
Basically, there's a way to white label the reports and put your logo on there, and it won't really mention highlighted at all. Um, as for CNAME stuff, like we don't really have plans to do that right now. Maybe in the future. I don't think that's going to be like an immediate thing we're going to be doing. I think we really want to nail the actual tracking of this before we dive deep into that. Um, so the CNAME stuff, yeah, it's not on the immediate roadmap. I'll just leave it at that. But
got it.
the reports will be able to have that white label feature.
Yeah, makes sense. Um, cool. So, yeah, Charlie, your POV and your kind of more
Yeah, I
insights
mean,
into the space from being SEO background. Of course, we are working strongly with artificial intelligence on a daily basis and in-house. So what do you
yeah,
think about this utility for every business out there? Because we have agencies and we work with clients.
yeah. I mean, I think Curran and his team are definitely ahead of the curve here. It's funny enough. I mean, given the amount of SEO products and SEO agencies that are out there, you would have thought that this would have been something that they'd be tapping into and mining for over a year by now. But you haven't seen such products, and I think it's because there's a certain level of complexity um, and also thought work that goes into building a product like this. Karan and his team has done a pretty good job making this super simple. I mean, even from a UI perspective, I think this is a pretty simple app. Once you understand the conceptual aspects of how it works, it's pretty easy to click around and get to what you need. I think the part that people who have not done this, which is almost everybody, right? Because you haven't been doing this. This is a new frontier in the AI SEO space. That's the category I would put it in. Um, I think because they're not accustomed to this, there's a slight learning curve to understand. Okay, what type of prompt should I put in? How to interpret that data and what to do with it. But that comes along with any industry, I think, especially when it's new. Um, Karan and his team are pretty ahead of the curve here, so I think they're going to do a really good job. I like the fact that they kept it super simple, and I like the fact that I can see not just one model, but multiple models, and all of those models are included, so we don't have to worry about that. Um, I know we've already used it for certain prompts we were trying to track, and funny enough, AI actually recommended our brand or at least plugged our brand in certain prompts, and that's always interesting to see as to why it plugged us. What is it that we wrote? What blog post was it? What page on the site was it that it pulled from, and which snippet or call out did it pull from? So to me, all of those are like valuable aspects to painting a bigger picture about how does AI work. But let's be very clear, right? The stats already speak for themselves. I think we posted some of those stats. A good percentage of searches are already done inside of an AI prompt. So we will start seeing less and less searches on the traditional Google search bar and more in the AI LLM prompt bar. And if we know that's happening, then I think it's inevitable and almost a disservice if you're not hopping onto this bandwagon of what I think is the evolution of SEO. It's now going to be AI SEO, and then if you want to narrow that down further, it's going to be LLM specific SEO. Because at some point, there won't be 50 LLMs that survive, right? Just like there weren't 50 search engines that survived. At some point, 5, 10 years down the road, there will be a handful of these that really have the best information, have the best algorithm, and provide the best answers. So having this type of tool this early on is a godsend. So I'm all in favor, but then again, I'm biased. I love SEO. I build every business on SEO first and foremost before I ever run ads on them. So this is a godsend to me. And speaking of which, I mean, that's something I just said, prompted another thought that I forgot to mention, which is we run SEO and use SEO data to run ads. So some of you have commented on like the ads that we run and why they, you know, besides the fact that they're pretty, why they hit home and they resonate with you. It's because we're using Search Console data. Now we can use prompt data and see exactly how someone types in a question, exactly which words they're using. And to me, just that little bit of insight is thousands of dollars in savings over the course of a year for the amount of ads that we're running. So I make my money back on month one. You can't beat that. Anytime someone's helping you make money, save money, or cut out a bunch of time in your SOPs or processes, that's gold as far as I'm concerned. Whether you use it for 1 month, 12 months, or 12 years really doesn't matter as long as you get your ROI back very quickly. And we're the type of people that use this type of tool. As long as you're using it, I think you get your money back right away. If you're letting it sit on the shelf to collect dust and wait for 1,000 other tools to come to market, then you're constantly going to be in feature comparison mode, and that's not the way to utilize such tools. I think you put this tool to use right away, let it go, mine all the LLMs, see where you rank, learn from it, evolve, iterate, and then use that data to either build your business, uh, modify aspects of your business, or impress your clients. And I think that's the value add here. That's how you use highlighted.
Yeah, well said. Well said.
Yeah, I think if we should run an ad for this, just saying impress your clients.
Yeah, that's again, we're marketers, right? I mean,
Yeah,
everybody on this call
yeah,
is a marketer. Everybody
yeah,
listening on this call is a marketer. Otherwise, they wouldn't be spending their hour with us. So I think in that sense, they completely understand the ROI. They may not necessarily understand how it fits perfectly into the workflow, but we're marketers. We'll figure that out.
makes
Another
sense.
thing to think
Cool.
about too is you can use this to sell your own unique service. Like you could really get some high ticket clients that are very curious about how they're looking at, especially the bigger clients where they're going to end up showing up more, right? You can use this as to sell an individual service and create a whole new product for yourself, which I think is actually a huge opportunity for a lot of agencies out there because not many people are doing this yet.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think one of the things I always tell people when I see these type of products, and not just highlighted, but a few others that we've had, and other platforms have also launched. So give credit where it's due. But anytime I see something that's a service in a box, to me is gold. It's like we're almost past the age of the internet now, and we're moving to the age of AI. If you can't use tools like this and make $100 or $500 or $5,000 or $10,000, you're doing something wrong. Because I know I could take this tool right now, put up a Fiverr gig saying I'll track which prompts you're ranking for every month and send you a report, and of course going to send that white label report that Curran and his team are going to release. I could do that for $20 a pop and make money. Now I could do that for $5,000 a month as well with big brands who do know exactly what to do with this data. They want to know this data. They're being constantly mentioned in prompts, and you're the first to tell them which prompts on which LLM they're being mentioned. To me, that's gold. That information is gold. How can you not be able to sell that for dollars? It makes no sense to me. So when you see really good stuff like this, that's essentially a service in a box or a business in a box. Uh, whether it's $100 or it's $300 or $500 really doesn't matter because you should be able to make that back within like a month or two. Um, if you notice, one of the things we do at RocketHub is we filter and curate the products based on those that are essentially a service in a box. You should be able to make your money back pretty easily. Things like this, Agency Handy, My SEO Auditor. I mean, these are services in a box. AimFox, services in a box. Like these are great tools that you can easily make your money back from. So, I mean, there are smart people in our community. The ones that what's surprising is the ones that know how much value this is are usually the silent ones. So I wish they'd speak up more and like let everybody else know like how easy it is to use a tool like this or any others to make money. And so treat it like a business in a box. You could be the first out there to be offering this service. And so Karan is absolutely right. I mean, this is a business in a box. Use it that way if you can.
Yep. Cool. On that note, we have a few more questions from Master Blaster. All right, he asks about the tool supports all languages.
Yep, we kind of touched on this earlier, but whatever language you use to write the prompt, it's the AI is going to respond in that language. So uh, basically works with any language, and well, you don't even need to do anything extra. You just type it in that language, and it'll work immediately.
Got it. All right. Another one. It is a good way to somehow give a search console keyword list to ChatGPT or Claude and ask it to convert the keywords to prompt with the most potential and use those prompts in your tool. So I think that's what Charlie mentioned before
Yep.
about the search console. Uh, and
Yeah,
kind
Gabor
of
is right, and Gabor is definitely one of those people that kicks the tires on a lot of these products and can find ways to put that into his workflow. So you're absolutely right. You use your Search Console keyword list, give that to ChatGPT and Claude, and say, hey, turn this into the most common prompts that you're seeing, and then drop those into highlighted, and you're in business.
Yep, I think this is even a feature kind of a suggestion for Curran to integrate Search Console, or
Yeah,
and even like give the option of importing CSV of potential queries and give the information back as reports for how much AI prompts happen tracking.
yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe there's a
What do
way
you
to
think?
take all the search queries in Search Console
Yeah,
and do exactly what you're saying automatically. So you give it the huge list. It takes out all the ones that would be great prompts that you could use in this tool, and it just uses those. So it doesn't there's millions of search queries that show up in Search
correct.
Console. So picking and choosing
Yep.
the right ones and formatting that the right way would be a nice little feature to have.
Yep. Yeah, I think that that would solve a lot of things for people who are not as familiar. And Karan, if you need some help with that, we've done some work in that space.
Okay, good to know.
Yep. Cool. All right. So yeah, I think even people have the same feeling. CSC import would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Or honestly, just
Cool.
if someone types in any prompt, we've thought about this a little bit more recently. Just giving more in-app help. Be like, if someone types in a prompt and it's not really the most optimal way to write that, you automatically rewrite it for them or give them a suggestion or something. I think that might be really helpful. So that's definitely something we've been thinking about the past week or so.
Got it. One more question people had was about the prompt limits, which we have for the deal. So this said, I mean, if we delete the prompts, will that consume that prompt, or like we just have to like wait for the next one to renew them, stuff like that. Like if they delete it, will that be counted or no?
If it gets deleted, it doesn't count. So you can, yeah, if you get the wrong one in there, you can delete it. It's fine.
Got it. Okay. Same with the workspaces. So if they can delete a workspace, add a workspace, that's fine.
Yep.
Okay, makes sense. All right, cool. So time to wrap up. Charlie, Grant, thanks for joining in. I think you answered a lot of questions. People will, of course, see the replay and even see your perspective and even kind of appreciate that the idea of doing this kind of perpetuated in your mind. And how it kind of realized into a great product. Do you have any message for people before we wrap up and say a good weekend to everyone?
Sure. I mean, the main thing is I'm super stoked about this product. I think SEO is really changing and it's changing quick. We've seen that over the past 6 months just with how much AI overviews are showing up. So, now is the time to hop on this product because it's just going to keep going in this direction. There's no going back, and we're trying to be ahead of the curve. So you'll be in on a product that's super early with this, and everyone else is going to be trying to play catch up, hopefully. So, yeah, hop on. I hope you like it. And if you have any questions or feature requests or anything like that, just hit our
Yep.
support.
Yep. And most importantly, get the deal. That's more important for you to kind of even test it out because you cannot have a free trial. Technically, you have to put your card details in. So get the deal, try it out. And yeah, they have 10% off running in. So go ahead on RocketHub deal page. And if you have any questions, Karan is there inside the group. Um, and he's in answering questions on the D page. So be comfortable, ask anywhere, any questions before you go and purchase. So there's some love for Karan over here because some people love your other product as well, Sheet Magic.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah, we love Speed Magic as well. That one's it's a helpful tool.
Yep. Cool. All right, Charlie, before you go, if you have anything else, otherwise we would then
Cool. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate
wrap
it.
up. All right,
See you guys.
cool.
No,
All right, folks.
I talk too much.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right.
All right,
See you.
all right, man. All right, see you. Have a great weekend.